And I am your co-host here today for our Impact Health Share webinar, here to learn about Impact. So maybe some of you, you just became an Impact member, you kind of want to learn more about the product, or maybe you're looking for a solution because the hot topic right now in our country is healthcare. And people are looking for answers, looking for solutions, and Impact is such a great alternative to traditional health insurance when it comes to healthcare. And so we're going to get deep into some details. I'm going to show some facts, details on Impact side, but I'm also going to provide some resources for you guys. The guidelines is a great tool to have, and you have access to it publicly, whether you're an Impact member or not. I strongly recommend you guys to download the guidelines just so you have it. It's very straightforward. And then also, we have a Facebook group. You do not have to be an Impact member to join the Facebook group. It's more so of a resource for questions, answers. People share their testimonials in there. So I'm gonna provide all that in a moment. But first, let's just start talking about some facts. Okay. So you're gonna learn about Impact Health today. And facts about Impact, with which we're going to break it down in a moment, is over $275 million have been saved and shared since 2020 in our community. Over 18,000 lives are protected in our healthcare plan here. And in the last 5+ years, there have been no universal price increases, which is wonderful. And our average payout to our providers, our doctors, our care facilities is 15 days or less, which is unheard of, really. Our doctors are so happy to partner up with Impact Health. But when we talk about truths of healthcare in general, 80% of our country is trying to lower their healthcare costs. And 5% of our population is responsible for 50% or more of the annual healthcare spending. So this indirectly means that most people are overpaying for their healthcare each and every single month. How many of you feel like you're part of the overpaying crowd? Anyone feel like they're overpaying right now for healthcare? See, if you don't feel that way, you might actually start feeling that way in this coming year. I'm sure you've seen the headlines. I'm sure you've seen the news. People are in the streets protesting about it. Our parties are fighting over it of healthcare. There's going to be a sharp increase for 2026. They're literally saying brace for impact for multiple reasons, not just in the cost in general of healthcare, but also you've heard about government subsidies, tax credits coming to an end. And so millions of people that have benefited from some form of tax credit are no longer to be able to benefit in this coming year. So experts are predicting double-digit rate increases, double digit. I mean, you're talking about literally your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, millions, your small business owners, millions of Americans will be faced with very difficult decisions. Decisions like, do I want to pay more for healthcare so I can take care of my family, right? We want to keep our family healthy and alive. Or I can't afford it because I got to pay for things like groceries. Literally, like it comes down to the basics of affordability. And where I live in Dallas, Texas, the average rate increase for our state, the average is 31%. I mean, some states are going to see as high as 75. You heard that, 75% rate increase. Insurance premiums are going double digits, as I mentioned earlier. We got to brace for impact. And we're talking about impact. What most people want when they are shopping around for what their healthcare plans are going to be, most people want affordable monthly premiums. Most people want affordable copays and deductibles, the out-of-pocket expenses, right? Most people want, I would dare say that everybody wants the freedom to choose the doctor they want to go to, right? Like if your child is sick, wouldn't it make sense for your child to get the best of the best care? You don't want to be restricted to within border lines or where you can go in your city or who's in your network. People want to have the freedom to choose the doctor they want to go to. And for our small business owners here, employers, I know your heart. You want to be able to offer healthcare to your employees because you also know that that means longevity with staff sticking around because they have healthcare benefits, right? But sometimes it's so expensive that as an employer, you have to make the tough decision to not be able to afford it, to offer it to your team members as much as you want to. So, who is Impact for? Now, healthcare sharing may not be for everybody. but it is for many individuals, especially those that are generally healthy. It really offers an affordable solution like no other. So think about anybody and everybody that pays for some, if not all, of their own healthcare plan. So some, if not all, of their own healthcare plan. So maybe it's individuals or families, entrepreneurs, self-employed, freelance gig workers. Maybe it's service industry workers like hairstylists, massage therapists, right? Our senior citizens, as long as you have Medicare Parts A and B, Impact can be your secondary option, your secondary plan. And then our small business owners with 49 employees or less. This is our target audience. Again, healthy to fairly healthy. And if you pay for some, if not all, of your own healthcare plan. So even if you have a job that pays for maybe a percentage of it, maybe they contribute 30 or 40 or 50% of it, but you still have to pay the other half. Sometimes the other half of it is just entirely too much. Never mind trying to add your family members in, right? So, really, no one's excluded from looking at impact as an alternative. Now, some benefits of impact in general is number one, impact feels like traditional insurance, though it's not insurance. And so there's no underwriting. You don't have to be licensed. If you're a referral partner, you don't have to be licensed, the credentialing to be able to offer this service as a business. But ultimately, it's not insurance. It's the most modern and contemporary feel of healthcare sharing. So that's a big part of that. Second big part of impact is there's no religious requirements. Now, out of curiosity, when I look at a group this size, we're well over 100 plus people right now, almost 150. How many of you have ever heard of healthcare sharing before? Like just the general concept, not just impact, but healthcare sharing. Okay, great. Good chunk of hands. Okay, great. So if you've ever heard of healthcare sharing, then primarily you've probably heard of MediShare, Samaritan Share, Christian Health Ministries. You guys ever heard of them? Beautiful, great organizations. They have paved the way when it comes to healthcare sharing, but there's one big hurdle people have to go across, which is you have to have their same core faith belief. So you have to be a Christian in order to be accepted. And now I am a believer of Christ, but I think, the gospel says, love thy neighbor, right? Doesn't matter your race, your religion, your creed. Our opportunity is love thy neighbor. And so impact, though it has similar core values to healthcare sharing, like all those other organizations, they don't have religious requirements. So we have Muslim members, we have Buddhist members, we have Jewish members, we have all walks of life involved with Impact Health. Now, also, it's what separates Impact from other sharing organizations is the way that it manages billing, which you're going to see that here in a moment. We have electronic billing, so it has that feel of insurance because the doctor's office can bill directly to Impact. Whereas for my friends that have heard of healthcare sharing before, you already know in the traditional health sharing world, you're already prepped up to understand you got to pay your bill first and then seek reimbursement. That's the way it usually works with healthcare sharing. Impact, again, we have electronic billing. And then also the inclusive desire to help as many people as possible with what we call reference-based pricing. In short, simple words, it's basically somebody advocating to make sure you don't pay more than you really should be. So sometimes you get a bill and you think that's the final bill, but there is some negotiations available and Impact will reprice all medical expenses that get sent to them. So Impact's not insurance, it's something better. First of all, the biggest thing is the savings, up to 50%, sometimes more, a month on average healthcare spending costs. So personally for me, my husband and I, we had traditional insurance. We are self-employed, two individuals in our household. We were paying almost $1,000 a month with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And when we took a look at Impact a few years ago, we got a quote, apple for apple, and our cost went down to 364. So that was almost $8,000 a year in savings, let alone a huge deduction from our deductible. We used to have a family deductible of $15,000 from our old insurance plan, and with Impact, our family deductible now is $2,500. So lots of savings there. But here's some bullet points. Number one, no provider restrictions. So going back to the freedom to choose where you want to go. That's beautiful. Freedom to choose where you want to go. comprehensive healthcare. What does that mean? Well, it's really sometimes people come from other health sharing organizations and they're like, oh, my current plan is for catastrophic events, only the big stuff. So all the other little things I have to pay out of pocket, right? With Impact, again, it feels like insurance. So it's covering everything from a sinus infection, a cold infection, to cancer treatment, to organ transplant, to being airlifted on a helicopter ambulance ride. So everything from small to big. It's comprehensive healthcare. And Impact doesn't do utilization reviews. What does that mean? They don't interfere with what your doctor says you need. Has anyone ever heard somebody share a story with you about how, like, your doctor said you needed this surgery, but the insurance company says, no, you don't. Like, I think you'll be able to do without, right? And then sick people get sicker or, they don't get the care that they need. Yeah. So Impact says, hey, doc, you went to school for this. You practice medicine for this cause to care and love on people and get them well. So we don't interfere with that. Impact does not interfere with that. No utilization reviews. Year-round enrollment. So I know the hot topic right now is it's open enrollment in season starting November 1st. People are shopping around. But if this was March and you wanted a new plan for April, then you can start as soon as the first of the month. So year-round enrollment and complimentary telehealth, wellness visit, and lab work credit, as well as dental and vision discount savings program, as well as a very impressive prescription pricing. And we also have what's called Health and Wholeness Rewards. It's a wellness reward program. So if you spend any money on, gym memberships, to supplements, to acupuncture, to direct primary care physician memberships, save your receipts because as a family, you can claim up to $150 a month towards your annual PRA, primary responsibility amount, or what you would know as deductible. And so save your receipts up to $150 a month. Anything you're spending money on for holistic wellness, functional medicine, maybe you have a subscription, a meal prep program. You know what? I spent some time this week with the vice president of operations from Impact Health, Miss Eileen Ryan, and she's like, listen, Impact Health is a nonprofit organization. Like just first sink that in. It's a nonprofit organization. So there's no reason for them to keep your money. They got to find a way to utilize your money. And so they started opening up programs like the wellness program. And people have submitted receipts for laundry detergent, like clean laundry detergent, right? So people have submitted receipts for baby formula, healthy baby, clean baby formula. So in any way, shape, or form, if it's a wellness program, save your receipts. $150 a month can be claimed, up to $150 a month towards your annual PRA. This, don't you guys just love this? This is great. What a way to promote healthy lifestyle. Shouldn't that be the way we live? Promote healthy lifestyle. And so you're going to hear some lingo. And I understand many of you are just learning about impact for the very first time. And so let me just say this. If you need to take a screenshot of this, because we want to rewire, reteach you just some verbiage of what we've been conditioned socially with insurance terms to what impact would reference it as. So like what you would know as deductible, which is your out-of-pocket expense in the insurance world, impact calls it primary responsibility amount. Okay, same concept. Second thing, copay. Your another out-of-pocket expense when you do go visit the doctor. Impact calls it provider fees. Very simple. Insurance would call something covered or coverage, like a paid bill. Okay, Impact calls it eligible for sharing within the community. Eligible for sharing. So the community, the money that we all pay for our monthly cost is going towards medical expenses. And then co-insurance is similar concept to co-share. So again, your same out-of-pocket expenses is just worded a little bit different with Impact Health. All right. And then also we have a Facebook group, as I mentioned earlier. So if you want to scan this QR code or search Health Share Crusade Community, again, you do not have to be an Impact member to join the Facebook group. Use it as a tool, use it as a resource. People share real life testimonials in there. It's very empowering just to know the type of community we have built and are building when it comes to affordable healthcare. And it's us taking healthcare back into our hands as a people. We're taking healthcare back into our plans. Now, the guidelines is very simple and straightforward. I'm going to post a link to that in a moment here. It's all about ethics and honesty. And in the same sense, you're going to hear pre-existing medical conditions. And so to Impact's terms, what they consider as a pre-existing medical condition are conditions in which signs of known signs, symptoms, treatment, testing, diagnosis, or use of medication occurred within 36 months prior to enrolling for Impact membership. So they're going to look at the last 36 months. Have you been receiving any testing, diagnosis, treatment, use of medication, revisiting of a specific condition until it's been sign symptom treatment free for 36 months since the last incident? It will be labeled as a pre-X. Now, anybody that has high blood pressure or high cholesterol, that's not going to be counted as a pre-X as long as you're taking your medications, you're controlling it. It's not going to be counted as a pre-X for future purposes of determining eligibility for vascular or cardiac events. So just keep in mind anything that's pre-X, that doesn't mean you're excluded from Impact. So you might have a condition, it's not maybe a big condition, maybe it's something minor and something small, maybe it's once a year or once every few years, and it's something tolerable that you're paying out of pocket for. That doesn't mean you can't get Impact, it's just that Impact won't pay towards that specific condition or those medical bills for that condition. But they will still reprice it to what we call fair market value. So Impact is for new accidents, new illnesses, and new injuries. And once your PRA, your primary responsibility amount, is paid, any eligible medical bills are then shared by the community at 90%. You're responsible for the remaining 10% called your co-share. So even you've met your deductible, your PRA, you're still going to be responsible for 10%, but the most you'll ever pay in co-share for your household each year is $5,000. Okay, so an annual PRA is similar to a deductible. It's the total amount that each household must pay annually towards eligible medical bills before additional expenses become eligible for sharing within the community. Members that are 65 and older can choose from four options. You'll see that in a moment. Sorry, members that are under 65 can choose from four types of PRAs. You'll see that in a moment. And the annual PRA can only be met with eligible medical bills and also through our wellness program. So remember how I said save your receipts, because basically your wellness rewards up to $150 a month is basically buying down your annual PRA. So when you look at it as a year, if you spend $150 a month in a whole year, that's $1,800 of credit towards your annual PRA. So pricing with Impact can start as low as $73 a month for an individual to $378 a month for a family of three or more. And for our senior citizens plan, it's $96 a month for 65 and older. Starts there. So to get a quote, which I'm going to give you guys a quick demo, really simple. All you need is the birth date of the oldest person in your household, how many people are in your household, and then choose which PRA that you want. And then you'll see as an example here that our PRAs, there's four options: $2,500 for the year, $5,000 for the year, $7,500 for the year, or $10,000 for the year. And if it's a family plan, this is a family shared PRA. So if you chose the $2,500, and you have a family of three, that's PRA of $2,500 for all three family members of years worth of expenses, medical bills, eligible medical bills. So let me just give you guys a quick demo, and then we want to have our member spotlight come up and share a little bit. So from the storefront, all we need is just click on Get Quote, and let's just use my household as an example. My husband's birth date, March 30th, 1979. There's two of us. We click on Get Quote, and then within seconds, someone can tell me, hey, it's anywhere from $306 a month to $479 a month for the two of you. That's wonderful. What if we started a family and now we add a third person in? We click on Get Quote, update that. Now it's either $433 a month or $605. So as you guys can see, the difference between the two of us to a family of three or more isn't actually that much more. So if you have more than one child or maybe more than one extra family member, again, it's the same price whether it's a family of three or more. And so, with that being said, super simple to get a quote, takes seconds. So, whoever you're working with, whoever invited you on here, maybe you're evaluating impact as an option, get back to them if you haven't got your quote yet. Get what that pricing is like, and then we can discover more. But we have a member here today that I've asked to share. Him and his wife just had their first baby, and we're so excited. And because we are Impact referral partners, when he found out his wife was pregnant, he was like, "Awesome! I'm going to have great impact testimonials. This is good, wonderful." And then he wants to share it with all of us. And so, my dear friend Harsh Patel, congratulations again on your promotion to dad. And if you don't mind, share it with us. Walk us through your maternity journey. And I know you have used impact for other related items or lifestyle. So share a little bit about that. But thanks so much for being on here.
Well, absolutely. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for an informative session here today. And yeah, excited to be an Impact customer. Literally, we got married in November of last year, which is okay. I can't even believe it's going to be a year anniversary. But literally in January of this year, we found out that we were pregnant. Now, I've been an Impact customer for 3 years. Prior to Impact, I had traditional healthcare. I was paying 1,100 bucks just for me. And when I got a quote from Impact, it was 246. So I'm like, you know what? 850 bucks a month in savings. Yeah, I'll take it. And my last name's Patel. I didn't ask any questions because I didn't ask any questions when I was paying 1,100 bucks a month. So I'm like, this just makes sense. But I always looked at health insurance, just like car insurance, like everything else, like one of those things you got to have, but you typically don't use, knock on wood, right? So it's one of those things I'm like, I was just paying for just in case, right? And long story short, I mean, I've always seen, people, have be like, oh my God, I use my health, and I use my healthcare, I use my healthcare, I use my healthcare. And for the past 3 years, I never got a chance to use it. But it's a funny story I'm going to share with you. It's exactly what Melissa said. You won't believe it. I literally got back from Puerto Rico, and I come home, and my wife's like, "Can you go to CVS and stop by and get a pregnancy test?" I'm like, yeah. What are you telling me?" She goes, just go get one." I'm like, "Okay." And literally go to CVS, pick up a pregnancy test, come home, and it's positive. And I kid you not, the first words that come out of my mouth is, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have impact bills." And she looks at me, she goes, did you just say that?" I'm like, "Oh no, no, honey, I'm so excited. We're gonna be father." But obviously I had to cover it up, but you guys are probably laughing. But the first thing literally came out of my mouth, and she's Puerto Rican. She probably wanted to kill me, but at the end of the day, those were the first thing that came out. I'm like, I'm gonna have some bills. I'm like, this is gonna be absolutely amazing because again, we're referral partners with the program. But the peace of mind I had, just being transparent with you guys, the peace of mind I had was, okay, we can go see whoever you want. So the first thing I started doing is looking up the best, doctors. I want to go the natural route. Me and my wife talked about it. We want to go the natural route. So we actually got a midwife out of the gate at the end of the day, which is pretty cool. And the midwife, I can share some bills. And here's the good news about the good news about what we have. Everything's black and white and transparent. So, I mean, I got a lot of bills. I don't want to go through all the bills, but just to give you an idea, our midwife's name is Janice, obviously. You can see just a deposit for her. She wanted $2,000, as you can see on the right side. Impact was like, well, it's only one session. We'll pay you by session. They communicate with her billing department, and $2,000 got repriced down to $237. So I only had to pay $237 versus a 2 grand deposit just for her to be your midwife, and she agreed upon that, which is pretty cool. Right. And then obviously when she was pregnant, there was weekly visits to doctors and ultrasounds, and we wanted to do preventative care like chiropractic care and lab work, and I mean, I didn't realize how much lab work goes into this. I feel like she was giving blood every single week, which was like insanity to me. But if you take a look, we have a lab work bill with Amerilab here. She went in. They wanted to charge us $1,400. Impact saved us $701. The bill came out to literally, was it 701, and Impact paid $631, and I only owed 70 bucks because at this point we already met our PRA, which is pretty cool. So the 90/10 started kind of kicking in. And then my wife, during the pregnancy, she got diagnosed with gestational diabetes. So in the state of New Jersey, even though you have a midwife, you actually have to go get an OBGYN too now, because it's considered quote unquote high risk, right? So I remember going to Vista Woman Health, which is a practice, which is what they do. Our first visit, they wanted to charge us 750 bucks. Impact repriced it by $523 dollars. We only pay, 226 was there, 158 paid was paid by Impact members, and we only had to pay $67. And we've gotten if we had to do weekly ultrasound at the end of the day. So if I go to like Roche ultrasound right here, which is we started doing weekly ultrasound on every Wednesday practically like clockwork. We had to make sure the baby was good and everything was good. And literally, if you take a look, and they wanted to charge us $1,500 for this ultrasound impact, repriced it by 1,200 bucks. We owed almost close to $300. I only had to pay $29. And that's kind of started happening on a weekly basis, as you can see. And it's crazy. Here's the chiropractic care. Again, chiropractors, we want to do preventative because NASA had, my wife had, herniations due to a prior accident, if that makes sense. We want to make sure because she were going again the natural route and everything like that. Chiropractic care, $668. They sent the bills into Impact. We only owed $5.32, and Impact paid them $53 for us. So you can see over and over again on countless bills from, and again, another LabCorp bill, another chiropractic bill. I mean, these are just over and over again. And then obviously when we added my son, I didn't know this. Um, when I'm in the hospital, the first thing they're telling me after the kid's born, do you have a physician? I'm like, a primary care doctor. I'm like, no. Have you looked into one? I'm like, I didn't think I need one right away. And they're like, well, we can't let you leave until you find one. And I'm like, okay. And I'll just kind of tell you where I wanted to be. I didn't want to, give my kids any kind of vaccination or things like that. It's kind of what I believed in, right? So what I wanted to do was find a physician that was okay with it, right? And that was really, really hard. But in my mind, I already knew, like, I'm like, you know what, Impact's going to cover them no matter what. So I'll just find somebody. So I remember reaching out to a company called IV Pediatrics. Actually, before I get into IV Pediatrics, my kid, because my wife had gestational diabetes, obviously his sugar levels weren't like leveling out when he was born, if that makes sense. So he was in NICU for 24 hours. So these are some NICU bills that, a $2,500 bill was a NICU bill, as you can see, got repriced by 2,100 bucks. I only had to pay $46 was another NICU bill. $1,000 got, repriced by $15. So these were some things that we were kind of going through, which again, I wasn't worried about bills because I knew had a peace of mind. Worst case scenario, worst case scenario, I'm gonna pay 7,500 bucks. After that, I knew Impact members and everybody was gonna be able to take care of the rest, which is really a peace of mind in my head. But then again, they told me before I had to leave, like, hey, you're gonna discharge the kid. My son was great, and they're like, well, you're gonna get discharged in 48 hours. Did you find a physician? I'm like, well, we just got my son out of the NICU. Let me go make some phone calls. I made a bunch of phone calls, and there was a lot of phone calls that I made. I probably made about, I don't know, maybe 12, 15 phone calls to different facilities. And I had the bright idea. I'm like, why don't I just call my midwife? She probably knows a good a good pediatric doctor that's, vaccine free, and they accept us. And I called her. She gave me a referral, which is IV Pediatrics. And here's the crazy part. I call them. They said, what kind of insurance do you have? And I said, well, I have a health share. Here's my number. Here's my card. It was a knee-jerk reaction. The first thing they said was, oh, we don't accept any health shares. I'm like, time out. Hold on a second. Let me do one thing. I'm coming for a routine checkup for my child. I'm coming in probably in the next couple of days. So one of the cool things about Impact, which I remembered, is they prepay for a wellness visit, right? So the first thing I do is I go online, I go to Impact, I log into my portal, I fill out the form. I said, our health share is different. My health share will prepay before I even walk in. She's like, I've never heard that before in my life. I said, well, let me ask you a question. If they do that, would you mind courtesy billing Impact for me? And she goes, if they prepay, because they've tried other health shares prior, they had bad experience with them and they were bad brothers and sisters out there, if that makes sense. And they're like, they told me some horror stories. I said, if they prepay, would you be open to just potentially billing? And here's what I said. I'll put my card on file. That way, here's my credit card, just in case if you don't get nothing. That's how confident I am. I'm like, if you don't get it, just charge whatever you want to charge to my card. So when I said that, the biller was pretty cool about it, because again, I had 100% confidence in Impact. And here's the crazy part. I literally submitted a prepay, a wellness checkup. You can see right here, they prepaid it. I submitted on 15th. Everything was done on the 21st. They already prepaid it. And now, if you take a look, there's a lot of bills underneath processing for him. They're all from IV Pediatrics right here. So there's a $300 bill. Now they're finally submitting it to Impact, and now you're seeing it getting repriced, by $167. Here's the crazy part. They wanted me to pay $100. Now they're actually getting $167. So they're actually winning, if that makes sense. Their cash price was $100, which they wanted me to pay, but now they're making $167. So they're actually winning on this. And then if you take a look, there was another bill for $500, which is a sick visit. Again, now they're seeing it that it's working, and now they're asking questions on how is this even possible, what's even going on, which is pretty cool. Now, another great story about this is because the doctors got paid quickly, because everything's kind of happening, they're all asking questions. Hey, where did you get this? And it's one of those things that when providers start asking questions, that the fact that they're getting paid in less than 12 to 18 days, that's a huge deal for our providers. And they're not credentialized, they're not none of that jazz. So Impact has been a phenomenal blessing for me, my family, for this, especially in a time of need. I'd have had zero stress. My wife picked whoever she wanted to go to. She picked the best of the best. And in the New Jersey, we can literally had no issues whatsoever, which was cool. And literally, we wanted to do a birthing center birth. And the crazy thing was, the morning of, she had, a little bit of fluids there. And we're like, you know what, let's just go get it checked out. We got an ultrasound and like, oh, maybe not, whatever. And then we ended up at the hospital because of whatever. Thank God we did because it did break. There was a leak, and because we went to the hospital, people start panicking if that makes sense. Like, oh my God, is it going to be covered? And I'm like, well, all right, we're here, no problem. Impact will take care of it. I gave my card. They'd say, well, you know what, we're good. And you know what? It took care of the whole process from the beginning to the middle to the end. Even now, I mean, it's just been a complete blessing for what it's been able to do. So the doctor became a customer, which is pretty cool of Impact. He went from $3,200 a month down to 605. He had a family of seven. It literally was the funniest thing ever. And he switched all his employees over, which is the OBGYN doctor, which is pretty cool. And the chiropractic doctor that my wife uses became a customer too. He was paying $900 a month. And now with us, he's paying 310. So it's pretty crazy how my son's birth has helped me get a bunch of customers, which is crazy. So it's been exciting. Now my wife wants to get pregnant again, so I can get some other doctors and stuff like that. So I get some more customers. But with that being said, Melissa, thank you for having me on the call here today, and I'll throw the call back to you.
Oh, that was awesome. I was just gonna say, I think it's time for you to go for another baby now. Help us expand the impact network, right? We all need to do it. All 150 us wants you to go and have another baby. But first off, how many of you guys just got a lot out of what Harsh just shared? Like the confidence that he has. Like, man, I don't know what your healthcare situation is right now, who you currently have your plan with, but like to have that level of confidence of knowing, like, I'm going to choose the doctor that my family deserves, and I have zero stress in knowing that Impact's going to come and step in for me in my time of need. Like, I just love that there is that confidence. And maybe for some of you, we're working on building that confidence because you're so new to this concept. I get it. Like, I was wired in the traditional insurance form for many, many, many years. I prayed I never had to use it, but I spent $1,000 a month just in case, right? That kind of plan. But with Impact, I'm just grateful that we have such an incredible program that really actually cares for our well being, wants us healthy to stay healthy, and rewards us for all these things. And so I love that the doctors got on board. I know we have a lot of physicians on here looking at Impact. Listen, again, our average payout is anywhere from 8 to 15 days. I know I have personal friends of mine that are physicians that are still waiting for payment from the insurance companies for over a year. And for Harsh, he got to show you guys the process of submitting the bill to getting it paid. Like the long part was the doctor said submitting the bill to Impact, right? But by the time that they've submitted it, Impact pays it fast. And so thank you so much, Harsh, for that. I appreciate that. I got so much out of that personally. And so obviously we're talking about all of these, young families. We're talking about babies being born. But for my friends, my seasoned friends, we didn't forget about you. Impact also has a senior citizen program with 65 and older. So as long as you have Medicare Parts A and B, Impact can help to fill in the gaps that Medicare allows but does not pay fully. And so for my friends that are seasoned, okay, it's a flat $1,000 annual PRA per person, and there's the freedom to choose the doctors or keep your doctors that you want. And there's no pre-existing clause for our seniors. And there's no provider fees and no co-share once the annual PRA is paid. So it's a little bit different for my seasoned program. I'm gonna call it seasoned program. I don't really like the word senior because like I'm looking at you guys like, look at this woman. She's a healthy, vibrant, and alive, right? But we have a different program which is great as a secondary option. My mom is enrolling. She's currently an Impact member. She turns 65 in January. And here's what's amazing. In the process of that, I actually just had a friend last week. He turned 65 and he was like, I was so blown away how proactive Impact was. They actually called me in advance, walked me through over the phone, switching my program to the senior program, and it was super seamless. And so we got your back. Impact has your back. They're going to try to make it as seamless as possible. Now, I just want to show you guys a sample of the Impact membership card. So you get a membership card just like you would with Blue Cross Blue Shield and United and whatnot. So it's like a physical card. This is actually my card. I did have to black out my ID number just for security purposes, but this looks exactly, my card looks exactly like yours. So as you can see on the front of the card, it shows your out-of-pocket expense. So very upfront of what you're going to be responsible for if you go, to urgent care, if you go to the ER, and so forth. And then also on the back of it, the front of the card is for you, the member. The back of the card is for the doctor's office. And so I love the verbiage that Harsh had, that when he went to the doctor's office, he goes, listen, like, would you do me a courtesy? Would you just talk to them? Would you call them? Just give them a chance. We're different. I love that verbiage. We're unlike any other health sharing organizations. We are different. And so we have a payer ID number, as you can see on the back of the card. That's the billing code that if the doctor's office would just register it, they can send electronic billing straight to Impact, and then Impact will start repricing, reference-based pricing, fair market value pricing, and then you'll be left with whatever you're responsible for if you have not met your PRA. But as of the last few days, we actually just enrolled a new program with our pharmacy of Livinity program, where any generic medication that's $10 or less is actually now zero. As an Impact member, it is zero for you. Even if you have not met your PRA, if you have not if you're just using Impact for the first time, even if it's a pre-existing condition, if it's a generic medication that's $10 or less, it is now zero. And this is kind of impromptu, but my friend Fred Sullivan actually was just sharing with me an experience that he just had. And this is before Livinity kicked in. So our partnership with Livinity came in effect a few days ago, like 5 days ago. And he had just gone to the pharmacy, I think the day or two before Livinity partnered up. So I want to show you how good the pricing was before Livinity and then what it could have been now with Livinity. But Fred, if you don't mind, as a member spotlight, can you share with everybody what did you save going from traditional insurance to Impact? Because I know that was a big deal for your family. And then share with us your quick testimonial on your prescription.
Sure thing, Melissa. Great job. I'm an independent contractor paying for our own insurance. My wife and I, Carla's a nurse and I'm a contractor, but we took a look at Impact and we were, basically when I figured out I was going to be saving $1,200 a month, I thought maybe, what do I have to give up? And I wasn't giving up anything. I was gaining. It was even better because I just had an accident and hurt my back. Doctor called the doctor. He prescribed some prednisone for me. Went to I'm remote now from home. I'm in Kalispell, Montana, and I gave the prescription into Costco, which is a local place that anywhere could go. Costco's discounts are great, but their discount was $116 for 40 pills. And I gave my Impact card and it brought it down to $5.76 or 75 cents, whatever it is. That's back with 75. Yeah. So the pharmacist is like, wow. I said, it's quite a difference, huh? She goes, yeah. So I chit-chatted her up. I asked if she ever heard of it. She's probably going to get on a Zoom at some point, but looking at the savings alone, I'm just so confident in Impact that don't be shy using Impact, guys. This is incredible. It's an incredible opportunity to save your family a ton of money.
Well, I love what he just shared. I mean, you guys saw what the pricing already was with discount for Costco, and then what it was as an Impact member. And then in hindsight, if it was Livinity's new program, it would have been zero. So that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Fred, for that testimonial. And love what Harsh said. He got his doctor to become a customer because I don't know if you guys know this or not. I have a lot of people in the medical space and they don't get a discount on healthcare either. You would think that they'd get premium insurance for themselves, but a lot of them are overpaying in many cases. And so, don't be shy. Share impact. Our community needs impact. They need to know that this is an option. It's not for everybody. Listen, I know that there's a lot of people out there that genuinely need traditional insurance because they're very sick, they've got conditions. But for my healthy to fairly healthy people, which is a majority of our country, impact is a great solution. And there's a lot of people we can help. And so if you're looking at this for yourself personally, what's there to lose? Let's get some more information. Let's get you a quote. So get back to whoever invited you on here. If you're curious about the referral partner piece, as Fred briefly mentioned, there is an opportunity, a business opportunity here. Again, get back to that person and invite them. Hey, ask them to invite you on to learning more about what's it like to become a referral partner. But with that, thank you guys so much for being on today's Impact webinar. Thank you again, Harsh Patel, for your testimonial. Let's go make an impact into our community. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much.